Most of us in this room are, I mentioned to Peter at lunch, we're tired of the BS. We're at a point in our careers, especially this industry, or at a stage in our life where it's time to be real. For a lot of reasons. You each have your own reason, whether it's your health or your wealth or your integrity or your reputation or your legacy. So, you know, what I want to preface this comments with about our strategic growth is the protection of this. If this is going to be something special, unique, meaningful around the world in every culture and every market, then it is your responsibility as much as it is corporate's to protect this. To protect the identity, the brand, the culture, the legality, how we do business, how we control the opportunities for people to join and engage this business in any way. I don't care if it's somebody you recruit, it's a vendor that we take on the corporate side, any of those things are going to be vetted over and over again for the right source and the right partners. That's how important it is. One of the things I want to say in advance of that that's unique to this company, some of us are going to be required, which makes all of you required to follow this legal agreement, is that we are not allowed to recruit or solicit LifeVantage distributors. You don't have to necessarily ask that, every person you talk to, but as soon as you find out, if the company finds out, they won't be invited to join the company for a time period that we'll tell you about later. Okay, fair enough? We chose to honor that because it's important to do the right thing. Okay? I might talk more about that this evening. I'm so excited about the white hot description that Peter gave me earlier. Stuart and Cooney and Thomas and I and Daryl have been in foreign markets for so long that, you know, sometimes you forget what life is like without bows and chopsticks and rice at every meal. But it is an area of the world that should be very appealing to you, particularly if you saw the comp plan and how it pays out. Because around the world, they all have this same heartbeat. They all have these same conditions. And they are reacting to this message as strongly, or in some markets, I would challenge you more strongly than you are. It will come at us very fast. Okay? There is, I don't know, no slides for me. Are they up? Okay. All right. That's not my first one. That is. Okay. This is important. How many of you have the patience to wait the time period necessary to do it well? Yes. You're liars. All of you are liars. Or you're not true network marketers. I know that. You've already been on the phones. You're trying to get us to meet all your people in all your other Latin markets and all your other Asian markets. That's the heartbeat and the energy and the power of the message. You feel it already. You want everybody to understand it. But part of being successful in this industry is not opening as many markets as you can as fast as possible. Let me categorize it as possible. You have to have a strategy to what you do. You have to have a foundation to what you do. You have to have a backbone. You have to have systems, processes, so that all that you do is sustainable. How many of you work for companies that have opened 30 and 40 markets in the first 4 and 5 years so they could put it on their brochure or so they could announce it from stage, and never supported them, closed them 2 and 3 years later, and were a total failure? All of you. What's the most important thing to you? Stable, long-term, sustainable. Okay? Gene Tips has he worked for one of those companies. He was under a mandate to open 5, 6, 8, 9 countries a year for 4 and 5 years. Ask him if that company's open today. They had deep pockets. It's not here today. It's about that big, that company that was in 40 markets overnight. That's not the answer to your success or the company's sustainability. We've identified markets that are very important to us strategically right out of the gate. There are 4 of the top 12 markets, top 10 markets in the world. You know what they are. The names have been mentioned. What if you got all of those opened fully in the next 18 months? Is that fast enough? You guys are lying to me. Yeah? That is not fast enough for you. Can I tell you, it's not fast enough for us in our own minds. The processes that Gene knows everything has to go through, from regulatory to call center setup to in-country logistics to what Shad knows in international markets, from banking relationships and payment methods and compensation plan challenges that even this compensation plan might have, are all in front of you, in addition to making products unique to that market. So you're not jamming American appetites on, somebody that can't even tolerate it at some levels. Okay? You see all that goes into this recipe? It's a big time recipe for success. So be patient with us. Can you do that? Stuart and Cooney. Stuart, stand up again. Our Hawaiian guy, you can't miss his laugh. Cooney, stand up. Operations in Japan. These guys have run businesses in Japan for years. They're way ahead of you over there right now. We're 6 and 12 months in most cases ahead of you in registration and looking at product, application in those markets and all of those needs. So don't think we're waiting until you come and run at us to say, hey, we need this, we need that, we need this, we need that. This team is experienced in those markets. Daryl, Jeremiah, raise your hand. Markets all over the world that he's done. He's focused right now on Mexico for us. He will be your liaison. Stuart will be your liaison for Asia right now. Thomas McLemore, stand up, Thomas. Thomas, many of you know, has relationships, leadership contacts, been an executive in companies around the world. He's the Albert Einstein in the crazy Korean body with that helmet-style haircut going on. Genius that you've got to have on your team to have opportunity to know the ins and outs and the current environments in those markets. His competitive analysis will make our marketing around the world more powerful. I just want to tell you, you can't rush the process though. You can have all the money in the world, you can have all the right people on the team, but one of the components to a great recipe is simply enough time for it to cook so it doesn't fall apart. You rush a cake, right? So time is an important factor in our strategy. So as business leaders, help us manage those expectations and those realities. Push back a little bit. Hey, no, this company isn't going to rush, because there's a long-term vision and strategy here that is so important to your success and the country you want us to come to success, that we've got to get it right and these others first. And if you want to make a mark, come and build in these markets first, and then you'll have an ear to the company, an ear to the wind, and you'll be the primary leader in those new markets. That's how a leader will manage this high expectation to rush to markets that aren't part of the current strategy. Can you help with that?
Absolutely.
That's why we love you. Thanks.